Hello everyone, welcome to a very special video. We're going to be talking about why males play as female avatars in VRChat, or they play as female characters in any game in existence, really. And just to stop you right there, this is about whether a choice is given as far as gender goes. Games that have no choice of gender or character, like Tomb Raider, do not count, so do not even include that in a video such as this. Now, today we are actually going to be responding to other YouTubers, like other VRChat YouTubers, about this very thing. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware that other VTubers or YouTubers have made videos and stuff about this exact kind of thing. Now, if you know us here, we've been dealing with this for a while. As you can see, we have it written here in our good book, and you can't quite see it from there, but the very first commandment is do not trap or cross-gender, and obviously that's in reference to a person's avatar character. There's many reasons why we don't want people doing this. We could say it's a sake of mental health, but we'll get into that. Now, before we respond to the videos, we're going to be using a chart. Here, let me show you. This is the chart we're going to be using. This chart, you see, is a list of responses from males why they use the female avatars in question. And as you can see, these are the most generic, stereotypical responses you'll hear. It's almost like a Rolodex of responses you'll hear from these people, because you'll be hearing the same thing over and over. Trust me, I've been doing this for years. I know this more than anybody on the planet. Now, you'll see the two numbers real quick. You see 2 and 1, the two categories. They refer to the book right here. The two reasons why males use female avatars, the first one being perversion, which is like a porn addiction, sex addiction, whatever. And then 2, soy imbalance, which is overwhelming femininity, which is bordering the mental ill issue or the mental health issue part, where, you know, you're a little too feminine and then things happen. Anyway, just remember those, because I'm going to be responding to these guys' excuses specifically using this chart, and it's always, quote me, any reason these people have to use these female avatars is always going to be in these two categories, 1 or 2, perversion or soy imbalance. Now, before we respond to the videos, I just want to say a quick thing. This has to be for consistent, unironic use of these avatars. There are certain exceptions to these, but you could go look at the other videos for what that might be. For example, if you use an avatar to just crash someone real quick and then switch back to your male avatar, that kind of thing. No, today we are talking about consistent use in any game, including VRChat. This goes everywhere. Single-player games, multiplayer games, it doesn't matter. And this could even be extended to things like social media, like Discord. People's profile pictures, for example. Like, why would they use a anime girl picture instead of some kind of guy picture? There's plenty of reasons why these people do it, but it all boils down to these two categories here. And I will explain this, and I will show you with the help of these other YouTubers I'm going to be responding to. Here, let me move this. Real quick, one last thing before we get into it. I'm sure you saw the amazing thumbnail of this. Please, if someone can, please translate this. I have no idea what this says. I can't read Japanese or whatever that is. But this chart is essentially showing you what happens to any guy who uses a female character, or specifically avatar, in a quote-unquote game such as VRChat. You know, you got the two dudes, the stereotypical nerds. You got the fat one, and then you got like the little twig, yeah, the little pencil neck. And, you know, they strap on their headset, and then look, they become anime girls, and then inevitably, what happens? Yeah, a very grotesque, dirty picture here at the bottom. But it's true. It might look like a meme. It might look like a joke. But this is so true. This happens literally every day in VRChat. Specifically, the Great Pug. I don't know if you've been to the Great Pug recently, but it is literal Sodom and Gomorrah of the virtual world these days. You could go in, and I'm not exaggerating, you could see entire groups, just like cuddle puddles of all men in full body, you know, trusted users, and female avatars just sitting there, head patting each other, caressing each other's face. It's disgusting. It's so detestable, truly awful. Anyway, you could do that on your own time. We're not doing that here in the video, because I don't want to. Anyway, let's go ahead and close that. Let me see if there's anything else I have to mention real quick. Here, I'll do this real quick. Oh wait, not that one. Yes, there's one of the excuses that I don't even think it's there. No, hold on, let me see. Okay. one of the excuses people are going to say for using avatars and anything like that, or practically any reason they have for doing anything in VRChat or games like it, is they're going to say, it's just a game, bro! It's just a game, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. And before I tell you why, I just want to say, technically, VRChat isn't even considered a game. Yeah, interesting, right? And this is kind of confirmed by Tupper himself. You see that? That is actually a thread from Reddit somewhere recently. I think it was a thread about commenting on VRChat dating and that kind of thing and why it shouldn't be done, blah, 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 you get it. But Tupper responded and said, we're not a game, I'll give you that. Or at least half social platform, sure. So he says it's a social platform, social game. Sure, we agree, but there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, okay? When these people say it's just a game and it doesn't matter, they're kind of implying that it's fake. It's not real. You know, like, that's not me. But just like I said in the very first commandment video, it is an extension of you or your personality. And this needs to be known or else they're never going to understand it. If they don't comprehend this very concept, they'll never understand what they're doing and why it's wrong or whatever. But I gotta make it very clear. You're not role-playing. These aren't characters. These are just avatars. There's only one way to be here in the virtual world, and that is to have an avatar, where you could be literally anything. And if you're a man, and you choose to be a woman, well, that says something about you. Because let me tell you something. That is a choice you made. And that choice says something about you. You see, humans are very complex creatures. Our choices say a lot about us, yeah? Pay attention to that. Because these people are not using these female avatars randomly. Now, that being said, I hope you could absorb a little bit of what I've just said and apply that to this video today. Let's go ahead and start playing the video. The first one is going to be from, I think his name is Twice. He's been a long time VRChat YouTuber. Yes, his name is Twice. Now, he made a video called, let's see, Wearing Female Avatars in VRChat. Just like the other 3 videos, I'm going to be linking it down in the description below. Surely he won't mind. I think this is going to be in fair use, so don't worry about that. Let me straighten myself up a little bit. Okay, well, maybe a little farther back. There we go, that's good. Anyway, so the interesting thing about this one is he's a little biased because if you know him at all, he used to regularly use the female avatars, which he might even show in the video, but not in the segment I'm going to be playing. Just so you know, all of these segments I'm playing, like, they're all chopped up videos of the original version, so if you want to see the full versions of any of these videos, just, again, go down below. They're pretty good watches, except the one from, what's-his-face, Vern Baby Burn. Yeah, don't watch that one. There's an e-girl that just gives a completely brain-dead bimbo take, and it is the most vomit-inducing cringe thing you'll ever hear. I highly don't recommend it, but yeah, disgusting. Anyway, let's go ahead and play, and while I do this, I'll pause this occasionally, bring up the chart, and it's essentially a bingo. You guys ever see those bingo boards where it's like VRChat bingo, and it's like, oh, mirror-dwelling e-boy, furry, blah, 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 and then you, like, cross it off every time you see it? Well, we're essentially going to be doing that with the chart every time these guys make that excuse. And I'll be explaining these things further. So, before I show the vid, just a reminder, here's the chart again. You can just read that real quick, but again, the large majority of these are just meaningless excuses in a desperate attempt to cope with their obvious femininity. Yes, and just so you know, it is totally okay to be feminine as a guy to a certain extent. You could do feminine things. I know I've done. I'm not the most masculine guy. I never pretended to be. I'm not saying people need to be. But when you start cross-dressing and cross-gendering, there's something wrong. And you know that deep down. Anyway, let's go ahead and play it.
We'll come to know that the game has an unlimited amount of avatars. You can be anything you want. You can be anime characters, e-boys, e-girls, furries, vehicles. The only limit is your imagination. Sometimes it might not even
Just keep in mind.
an avatar.
Wait, hold on. There we go. Just keep in mind, he said you could be whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. And just know there is a difference between genders and species. These are like different categories. Like, you have these questions like, oh, why would this guy be like an elite from Halo or a chicken or something like that? Sure. Different reasons, different questions, right? Yada, yada, yada. We don't even need to get into that because today we're just focusing on gender. These guys play as human females. So there isn't much of like a huge stretch going on. They're simply changing their gender. Why is that? Well, you'll find out.
There's plenty of aesthetically pretty looking Abbies inside of VRChat. Some people might just find the design or appearance of a female character more appealing. I also thought I'd mention...
Oh, he's here. The design more appealing. Let's see. I like the avatar slash character or how it or the clothing looks. AKA, I think it looks cool. Where have we seen that before? Sounds like a meaningless excuse.
That there's a lot more variety in the different female Abbies you can wear versus the male ones. Another
Oh,
reason
did you hear that? A lot more variety, he says. Where have we seen this before? Right here. Female Abbies have more customization. We're hitting the bingo board pretty quickly.
would want to use a female avatar in VRChat is because it can give a person a better sense of identity. Unity and Blender allow you to customize...
That is a very important word. A better sense of identity, yeah? Even on the VRChat website itself, it says you could express yourself or express your identity with these avatars. Well, if a guy is using a female avatar to express himself, what is he expressing? To that extent of cross-dressing and cross-gendering, what is he expressing? It's certainly not masculinity, I'll tell you that. There's plenty going on beneath the surface, but these people don't see it. They are complacent and do not know.
It's an avatar that reflects your personal preferences or desired identities.
So you see that? Desired identities. So these are men who, deep down, desire the female identity. There's no denying this. When you come in VRChat and you click on an avatar pedestal, or you upload one, you are like signing, like, I guess, like an official agreement that says, this is what I want to look like here in front of everybody around me. This is how people are going to see me as a woman. You can't forget this. Very important. Very important.
Female Abby lines up with what you want, then go ahead. Another thing I want to bring up is something called gender dysphoria.
Reason number 2.
Okay. So obviously he goes into gender dysphoria, right? Now, we could sit here. I'm going to say, according to what I've heard and what makes sense and logic, gender dysphoria is a mental illness. Get over it. There's no reason to be uncomfortable in your own skin. This is something that is not even a thought for countless billions of people. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I could elaborate more. That specific trans gender dysphoria thing isn't necessarily my specialty, but it's not normal. It's certainly not normal, and ultimately, there doesn't seem to be a point. Like, there doesn't seem to be a current solution for this kind of thing. People say, oh, go trans, get the surgery, but there's so many of them that, commit self-harm afterwards, or are still mentally ill, they're not happy, they want to detransition, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to pause his video, and I'm going to end his video, because he goes into other stuff later that I don't even recall has anything to do with what we're talking about here. But the important thing is that, yeah, gender dysphoria. And keep in mind, his video is called, what is it again? Wearing female avatars in VRChat. And then he goes into gender dysphoria. So I think the message is pretty clear there. And I agree with him. I completely agree with them. Men who use the female avatars are certainly expressing themselves, They're certainly expressing an identity, that's for sure. And yeah, I truly believe that deep down, based off of the definition of what gender dysphoria is, they have at least a little bit of it, enough to cross-gender or cross-dress. There is clearly some kind of discomfort or anxiety towards their own male gender, and if that wasn't true, there would be no need to change it. Keep that in mind. There's no need to change it. There's a very specific reason why they did. Anyway, moving on to the next one. This guy, his name is, let's see here, Sid from VRChat, and then it has like a little, Japanese characters afterwards. Anyway, his video is called, Why VRChat Turns People Gay/Trans, parentheses, 5 reasons. The first reason I'm not going to play, it was literally just, Because men, because men and women are wired differently, and then he goes on to explain how they did like an experiment with monkeys, and I am never okay with comparing humans to animals because humans are not animals, and that's just we could talk about it afterwards in the comments. I'll never agree with that statement. You know, you might think that we came from monkeys. No, there's no proof of that. We're not animals. You and your family might be a bunch of dirty monkeys and animals, but not me and mine. Sorry. Anyway, let me go on here. And just before I even press the play button, you can see the second reason: loneliness and depression. Keep in mind, this is called Why VRChat Turns People Gay/Trans.
2. Loneliness and depression. Lots of people use virtual reality as a way to escape their depressing lives and their lack of any friends. And I think that's a good thing.
Hold on, what did he say?
Also thought I meant
People use virtual reality as a way to escape their depressing lives and their lack of any friends. And I think that's a good thing.
So, so people, they use virtual reality to escape their lives because they have no friends? Is that what he said?
dysphoria.
Reason number 2, loneliness and depression. Lots of people use virtual reality as a way to escape their depressing lives and their lack of any friends. And I think that's a good thing.
Escape their depressing lives, and because they have no friends. Now that's hilarious, okay? However, he makes a good point, like the loneliness thing. This is very prevalent because there's so many like e-daters. This must explain why there's so many e-daters, because if they could get dates IRL, they'd have no reason coming here and doing it. And the best part is he, on screen, is going to explain why this is. I love this. This is great.
But did you know that some people also use VR as a way to have relationships?
There it is.
It's true. A lot of people who get into relationships in VRChat, they're straight, but they end up with other men. This phenomenon is known as being prison gay. Basically when guys can't meet women in real life because, well, they're literally in prison, or maybe they're just really, really unattractive.
Yep.
When this happens, they might seek other men for comfort and sometimes even physical pleasure. And as you can imagine, it's very, very common in VRChat because a lot of players are nerds and, well, they just can't get a date. And I think that's a great thing.
And I think that's a great thing. So, as you can see, he went on to explain this prison gay thing. And, it's true. People can't get dates. I have a theory for this, by the way, and he pretty much confirmed what I was saying. I have a theory on why people become gay, and this prison gay thing kind of explains it. Yeah, they can't get dates, they can't get attention from the opposite gender, so they eventually swing towards the same gender because of like certain situations would just make it easier. Apparently, it's easier for men to get men because men are just horny, whatever, and it might be the same thing for women, but what he said really hits the nail on the head, I think. If they're too awkward, or like you said, they're all nerds and they just can't get the female attention, they'll just default to men. So in other words, he's saying, you're not good enough, so, oh, look, you're just going to go to men now. And I kind of agree with that. But that's just a theory. A gay theory. Thanks for watching.
More customization options.
Okay, you see, he said customization points, right? Ready? Boom. More customization. You see that? And just keep, again, don't forget, this is called Why VRChat Turns People Gay/Trans. Now, what does that have to do with the avatar customization? Well, let's see.
To some uneducated observers, VRChat players seem like girly or sissy based on their fashion choices. People are like, oh, you're wearing girly clothes, therefore you're gay. Basically stuff like that. But I assure you, this is a very dumb and stupid way to think. For adults like me, who have a lot of money, we realize...
So apparently it's a very dumb and stupid way for us to think that if a guy's going to cross-gender or cross-dress, he's a little feminine. So he's implying that making feminine decisions isn't a feminine thing to do. Wanting to wear female clothing and look like a female isn't a feminine thing, which is, according to him, not a stereotypically gay thing to do, even though it is literally a stereotypical gay thing to do. But sure, okay. Here, let's rewind that like a second. Oh, too far.
And, well, they just can't get a date. And I think that's a great thing. Reason number 4, more customization options. That's why, to some uneducated observers, VRChat players seem like girly or sissy based on their fashion choices. People are like, oh, you're wearing girly clothes, therefore you're gay. Basically stuff like that. But I assure you, this is a very dumb and stupid way to think. Mature adults like me, who have a lot of money, we realize that avatars are not like literally us. Like the figure I see in the mirror, it's not literally me in real life. Okay?
Interesting.
And one thing I like to do is like put on new fashion and then compare it with my friends.
Okay, hold on before it gets to that point. So, I mean, you heard it. Apparently, it's totally fine. I just want to hear it again.
In real life, okay? And then one thing I like to do, dumb and stupid.
Now, I want you to pay attention. He says, like, oh, that's not the case, okay? Like, by the way, I'm not gay, by the way. I swear I'm not gay, guys.
To think. Mature adults like me, who have a lot of money, we realize that avatars are not, like, literally us. Like, the figure I see in the mirror, it's not literally me in real life, okay? And then one thing I like to do...
It's not me in real life, okay? But here's the thing. It is an extension of your real life self. You made the decision to look like that. And the truth of the matter is, yes, VRChat is like a fictional fantasy world. I don't know if fictional is the right word for it because, like, these are all real avatars, and everyone you see is a real person behind the headset, and they're all making real decisions, and one of those decisions is which avatar they're going to use, and that is an extremely important decision because it says something about them, whether they like it or not. For example, one thing it's going to say about them is maybe they just like the character a little too much, but maybe we'll get into that later. But let's see what else he has to say.
Do is like put on new fashion and then compare it with my friends, and you see what kind of fashion ideas we have. Like, if you think it's gay to dress up in frilly succubus outfits with your friends, that says a lot more about your insecurity than it says about me. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. So he says it's a matter of insecurity if we as men do not want to sit in front of the mirror and dress up in a bunch of like succubus avatars, which the word succubus is like a female only thing. It's like a demon or whatever. The male equivalent would be incubus. Yeah. So unless we as men go in front of the mirror and compare our cute little dresses, we're just insecure. Yeah, we're just insecure. There's totally nothing wrong with us, you know. We're totally not into the avatars, like we're not attracted to them, or we're not super feminine or anything. Like, totally not.
And reason number 5 is AGP, which stands for Autogynephilia.
Autogynephilia. Okay, so just like the video from Twice, he goes on to like a mental aspect of it. So the autogynephilia thing, I believe what he's referring to is this idea, or if a guy, I think he does explain this like nearly verbatim, sees himself in like the female form or avatar character, there's like more of a sexually exciting thing. And what I'm going to do is actually attempt to link a, like, how do you say, it's like a research thing, like an article about this in the description below, where they took a very small sample size, about like 30 like Italian guys, and they got them in female avatars on like a virtual headset, and they sat them down and they conducted some tests on them about, like, I guess some other guy was like touching their sensitive parts, you know, not necessarily like the genitals or anything, but they did that, and they kind of weighed like the responses, right? They took they took the results down. Yeah, they jotted the results down, they compared them, and then according to that research, or according to that little experiment, yeah, more of those men felt more excitement being in the female form than they were in the male form, because they tested with both. So yeah, there might be some truth to that. What do I say about that? I say that's perversion. Actually, wait, I say that's perversion. This is like a fetish, really. I mean, if you're doing it for sexual reasons, then it's obviously some kind of sexual thing. Like, how is that not perverted? Like, you're literally perverting, changing your own gender just for like a sexual thrill. This is fetishism, really. It's if you're doing it for that disgusting reason, then I don't even need to say anything. Like, you know it's bad at that point. Anyway, I'll talk more about that later, but let me show you the next bit. So this one is called VRChat in brackets. The guy is rocking female avatars, yay or nay. There's one small little snippet I want to take out of this video, and you're going to see it on the screen here. But this guy's name is, where is it? Vern Baby Burn. Again, I will have it linked in the description below. He seems like a pretty cool guy, but like I said earlier, I wouldn't recommend watching the whole thing, because right after this scene, he interviews some brainless e-thought who's sitting on a couch, and it's just the dumbest take you'll ever hear. And like, you ever see something that just makes you angry? It just like physically just makes you cringe, and just like, oh, yeah, that woman's responses, Yikes. Anyway, let's not ramble. But I just want to show you this part real quick, because here on the chart, I want to show you this part. One of the excuses these men use the avatars is like, I want to look cute / sexy, right? Now, you'll see there's two lines coming from that. Generally, all their excuses are going to point to the femininity thing, okay? However, there's a line going down to the perversion thing, because as you could see from the good book here, the main reason for cross-gendering from dudes is the perversion, meaning they're attracted to the avatar they're playing as. Now, obviously, if you have men like this and little girl avatars, well, following that logic would imply that they like them young, they're pedophiles, they're totally into their avatars. And we here kind of believe that, we kind of agree with that, honestly. The only other option is that they're just so feminine that they're definitely like closeted trans, or they have gender dysphoria at that point. I mean, think about it. Like, if you're a grown man like this guy on screen is, and you're playing as a little girl, and you're going around doing cutesy things, your little cute lolly avatars, like, is that not weird to you? Do you guys not think, like, a grown man being that obsessed with lollies, like little girls to the point of using them and dressing up like them, like, you don't think that's weird? It's definitely weird. Like, this is not something you would tell your coworkers or your family about. They would think you're some kind of freaking pedo, and they wouldn't let you near schools anymore. But I just want to show you what this guy does. Here, check us out.
Is guys rocking female avatars, yay or nay?
Yay! Do you want to see my most amazing default avatar? Do you want to see it?
I mean, I'd love to see it, but the question is, why though? Why it's a big yay for you?
I'm sick and tired. It's a big yay because you can be anything you want in this world. You don't have to be who you really are. You could be the failure you are in the world, but when you come in this world, you're a whole new person. You're rebirth, my dude. Just think about that.
Yes, he is reborn into his little girl self. He can escape the failure that he is in real life and become the little girl he has always wanted to be.
And why do you think that 95% of all male here are females only, almost? Well, why do you think that?
Because, like with every game, most single-player games, even MMORPGs, you know why they choose female?
Get ready.
Because
Get ready for this.
Two reasons. One, you can trap people for free stuff.
Okay, so I just want to, just real quick, the trapping thing, that is so obscure. Like, sure, you have genuine traps out there, like you have YouTubers and stuff. That is so rare. Like, when you're actually playing in VRChat, it is extremely rare to see this. And when these dudes eventually speak, they don't have like a fake trap girl voice. It's just a regular voice. So don't even pay attention to that part. But listen very closely to what he's about to say.
MMORPGs mostly, not in VRChat. And secondly, usually avatars of girls are hot, and we'd rather be staring at girls than guys, right? Stop it. Let me give you.
Okay, in case you didn't hear that, because he was a little quiet, let's just run that back real quick. Hold on.
Not in VRChat.
Let me turn up the volume.
Secondly, usually avatars of girls are hot, and we'd rather be staring at girls than guys, right? Stop it. Let me give you a sneak.
Okay, so in case you didn't hear me, said the girl avatars are hot, and they'd rather be staring. Get ready. They'd rather be staring at them instead of men. Now, obviously, I want you to see the bottom of the chart here that says there's the excuse right there. However, did you see the avatar he was wearing when he said that? Look. So his logic, his two reasons he said out of his own mouth is that he traps people, which he's not doing. The second reason would be because they're hot and they'd rather stare at them. Now, I think you all understand, if you have a grown man who likes to stare at little girls for extended periods of time, is a pedophile. There's no candy coating it, ladies and gentlemen. That dude right there, he likes him young. He just outed himself. Like, that's it. He's guilty. Here, let's see what this little perverted freak does. Here, check us out.
Can trap people for free stuff.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, we heard you.
Let me give you a sneak peek.
Look.
Let us see this sexy.
So he changes his avatar into this thing. Another lolly.
There you go.
Get ready for this.
I would call it sexy.
Alright, so this person's name.
Hold on. Before he does this little dance, the commentator, the baby Burn guy, he's like, "Oh, let's see the sexy avatar you have," because he's responding to what he just said, and then the Krista guy on screen, he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't call it sexy." Okay, and then he does this.
Creasa underscore and
Creasa,
don't you
whatever.
forget
Look at
about the
this is a
underscore, 'cause
grown
there'll be
man
other-
doing that. Okay, there's no normal grown man on the entire planet who would do that. That is an embarrassment. Imagine, as much as you can right now, that is someone's son. Imagine being the father to that thing. How would this make you feel? Now think about that. How would that make you feel, knowing that your grown son, this guy's probably 20 something, goes online, dresses up like little little anime girls, and dances around doing stuff like that, and then, according to him, stares at them continuously, which is what these guys do. Yes, they get in these avatars and they stare at themselves in front of the mirror for hours and hours and hours. How are they not pedos? I mean, come on, man. But think about that. This is an embarrassment to being a father. No parent wants this. None. No dignified parent, anyway. Anyway, I think that's the end of Burns. Oh, is his name Burn or Vern? Hold on. I think it's Vern. Maybe it's Burn. Anyway.
Male or female?
Okay, so this next one is from Boneless VR. I think I saved the best for last here. Let me see. Did I? Yeah, this is the last one. This one is called VRChat Will Make You a Woman. And trust me, I did save the best for last. Now, before I respond to this one, there was a fifth video I wanted to respond to, which I'm pretty sure the same guy made it, but I can't find it anywhere, because I'm pretty sure it's him, because the avatar in question was an anime girl with pink hair. At least I thought it was, but I searched for it for hours. I couldn't find it. I just want to say, the reason why I wanted to respond to it so much is because he explains, like, why you use your avatar. You know, it's like one of those, like, I have a video with the same title, like, what your VRChat avatar says about you, or something like that, right? And he does the same thing. And then he gets to his point where it's like, guys who play as females, and his reason is, oh, we just don't care. We're based. We don't care about what anyone thinks. Yeah, right, dude. I just wanted to grill that guy for that so bad. Anyway, I cut out a beginning portion of his video, which had nothing to do with the whole girl avatar thing. It's some weird, like, history video. But anyway, what he's about to get into is his explanation for how, I guess, and why he started using the female avatars. And as you can see, this is Halo Reach. So he's going to point out that, as you can see, you could change its gender. So let's see what he does.
That's interesting. I've never had to think about that in Call of Duty.
You're probably expecting me to say something like, and this is when I realized I was trained, but it just wasn't like that.
I picked a female Spartan and simply played the game, not really thinking about it much after that.
Okay, so he claims he claims that he just picked it randomly, seemingly for no reason, and just went with that. And he's going to go on to explain that he's been doing this for a while.
That's kind of how I've always been. Whenever I'm given the option, I choose a female character. That's how I played Cyberpunk, Destiny 2, Necopar.
Not even
So Necopar, yeah, he plays that. He's totally not feminine. So he explicitly states he just kind of did it. Just randomly for no reason. Who believes that baloney? I mean, come on, that's nonsense. There's a reason why humans do things. We aren't just random. Our choices, our decisions, they're thought out. We're not simple-minded. Or maybe he is, I don't know. But a general human with, like, a decent IQ thinks about what they do, whether it be before or after. But yeah, according to this guy, he just did it. Well, I'm here to tell you that no, Boneless VR, you did not just randomly do it. There's two reasons why you did it. You either decided that you were attracted to it, which I don't think is the true case. I think what it actually is the second reason. You're just a little more feminine than you think you are. Now, I'm not calling you trans, but like I said earlier, this logic would imply that you have a little bit of gender dysphoria. And if that wasn't true, then why in the world would you go out of your way to change your gender? Because yes, you have to change it manually, which is what you did and what you do in any game you ever play, which is what you said. There's a reason, and it's not a good one. Anyway, let's see what else he has to say. I think at this point, he's going to explain, like, the avatar thing and how much customization there is, blah, 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 blah.
10 seconds in, we run into our first problem. There just aren't many good male bases.
Aren't many good male bases, There are no good-looking male Abbies. Look at that. So obviously at this point, I guess he went on to like VRChat or the virtual market, and according to him, the page is littered with all these booth girl avatars. You know, you got the Mayas and the EOs or whatever they're called. You got the Rindos, but apparently there's not that many men. Before he gets into this, I just want to say something. Okay, so picking the female avatars because there's a lack of male options is the same kind of logic of you saying you would rather wear like one of the multicolored dresses because there's more dress options instead of like, I don't know, the male options are only just a few. Let me paint this example more clearly. It's like, say you go into a store and you have your male section and your female section. Well, in the male section, there's only like 3 shirts. You got like red, brown, and yellow, right? However, the girls section has like 10 or 20 options, you know, varying colors, blah, blah, blah. So according to his logic, he'd pick one of the dresses from the female section because there aren't enough options in the male section. This is exactly what he's saying. There's still plenty of male avatar options in VRChat, but he's not going to pick them because there's more on the female side. And for some reason, those appeal to him more. This is just an excuse, as shown by the chart. This is just a meaningless excuse to cope with his femininity that he probably doesn't even realize he has, which I think this is the truth. Like, he's truly in denial, to the point of being delusional about what is and isn't real anymore. Poor guy. Anyway, let's see what else he has to say.
I want something wholesome, not swolesome. And all of these ones are jacked, and I'm not.
So, quick recap.
So I guess that was him. Hold on.
Aces. I want something wholesome, not swolesome. And all of these ones are jacked, and I'm...
So I guess that's him. So I don't know if this is him or not, but like he's got some muscle right there. He's not some like little stick figure. He's not a femboy, is he? It doesn't look like that. But whether he was or wasn't, like that's saying like, oh, because I'm not a little bit stronger, I'd rather go backwards and become less of a man and just become a woman because all the male Abbies are too muscly? This logic makes absolutely no sense. What does the chart have to say? This probably falls under like there are no good looking male Abbies, etc. Oh, also I forgot to mention from the video with like the guy with the lolly avatar. Yeah, you could just read that at the bottom. Rather stare at a girl. Anyway.
not.
So, quick recap. 3 out of 4 dudes use a female avatar because they like the aesthetic, and there are way more customization options, something.
Okay, so likes the aesthetics, and there's way more customization options. Bam. First reason, I like the avatar / character, or how it looks, or the clothing. AKA, I think it looks cool. So again, there's no excuse that these men could make that is not on this chart here. I absolutely assure you, you could go and talk to people in VRChat all day. They're always going to say something like this. And you can just use the chart for reference. If they say one of these things, just move on over and look why. Most of it is the meaningless excuse to just cope with their femininity. And that's like the soy. That's like the soy feminine thing, you see? And to that extent, yes, it's a mental illness because it's gender dysphoria and they just don't realize it. If it wasn't gender dysphoria, then why would they not want to play as the male avatars? Like, ever, in any game, ever. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
When I first got into VRChat, it was purely just...
Here, pay attention to this. This explains how it happened, I guess, or what he first did initially when he played VRChat.
To mess with people. Then, before I knew it, I had a vibe and full body. VRChat changed me.
So he said he initially played VRChat just to mess with people. And then he says, before you know it, I got full body. VRChat, and I quote, VRChat changed me. Yes, this is truth. VRChat changed... Okay, can I not do that? Anyway, yes, VRChat changes people. I have been trying to say this. Let me explain. There's an argument where people are like, oh, you can't, you can't turn gay or trans. Like, you are always gay or trans. This is what they say. And to that I say, every human being has this potential locked in inside of them, within them. Even me, even you watching, every single person in existence, all men of any caliber, they have this potential to be anything like that. So it's not necessarily turning gay or trans, it's maybe just unlocking that potential, because certain situations or certain circumstances has caused this thing to happen. Like, for example, the prison gay thing is a great example. They can't get women. Women don't give them attention. They're getting desperate. They're sad. They're lonely, just like that guy said. And so what do? They turn to the homies, as he said, for comfort and physical things and otherwise. So as you can see, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I mean, that guy, what was his name? Boneless VR? Yeah, Boneless VR. His video will also be down below. Again, it's called VRChat Will Make You a Woman. Here, let me pull up the chart again. There it is. Okay, so I think we did a pretty good job weeding through these videos. I just wanted to show you their responses. Obviously, those people are kind of biased because 3 out of 4 of those people all use the female avatar, so they're not going to give you the truth. Half of the time, these people are not willing to incriminate themselves. However, one thing you are going to hear occasionally is the bottom here. Like, when you ask a guy, hey, why are you using that half-naked slut avatar? Look at me like, oh, you don't like tits, bro? You don't like tits? So he just straight up admits it. And if you come into a game or a social platform like this or anything like that, and you decide to look like that, this is telling me that you can't be here without staring at ass or tits, like the chart says. And that is blatant porn or sex addiction. You cannot tell me otherwise. These, like, come on, they can't even be here without just staring at the opposite gender. And this is exactly why I say, here, hold on. This is exactly why I say the perversion part is a mental illness, because it gets to that point. That is an addiction at that point. Okay? Perversion on its own is not a mental illness or an addiction, but when it gets to that point, like you can't even be here without looking like a woman, that's where you've crossed the line, you see. And I say to that extent, like, your perversion, your obsession with this female form has caused you to become a woman, or become a woman virtually. You cannot deny that these men have virtually transitioned into women, whether you like it or not. Now, I'm not saying they act like women. I'm not saying they even identify as women. However, you cannot deny that they have virtually, physically transitioned into a woman here. You cannot deny such a thing. Anyway, let me pull up the chart again. Actually, before I finish up here, I just want to say one thing. Obviously, you probably are under the impression that I'm some sort of religious zealot. I don't think that's true. And anytime I try and talk about these kinds of things, I try not to bring religion into it. I just try and stick to, like, a basic moral code, like a moral principle that has been followed for countless years. Like, there's a reason why cross-dressing and being gay and trans has been stigmatized for countless centuries. Now, the trans thing hardly even existed up until recently, like 5-10 years ago. I don't even think I heard the word. But anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because if you are Christian, if you are religious, well, I have a little quote here. And if you truly believe that the foundation of all morality was some kind of religious thing, like I do, this is what I believe, then this quote is from the Bible. So it says, a woman is not to wear male clothing, and a man is not to put on a woman's garment, for anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord your God. So what this is saying is, don't cross-dress. So this one is for all of you guys I see in all these VR churches who decide to look like women. It says it right here. You're going against Scripture right there. Like, it can't be made any more clear. So you are walking around in contradiction. This is blatant sin. I don't know how else to say it. So the next time you go in the church and you decide to look at this, maybe you should read Deuteronomy again, because it says it right there. And just for the record, if this is how God feels about people who cross-dress, how do you think he'd feel about people who cross-gender, or even more, who want to cross species? Yeah, furries, I'm talking about you. If he has a problem with cross-dressing, how do you think he'd feel about you trying to be an animal? Yeah, trust me, doubt he'd like that. Anyway, I just wanted to respond to these videos because I thought they were hilarious, personally. There's another video I kind of want to talk about. I'm not going to. It's a little different subject, maybe next time. But I just want to make it very clear that anytime you ask these guys why they use the female avatars, this chart practically has all the answers. And what it ultimately boils down to, unless they're straight up admitting it, these guys are just in denial. They don't think they're feminine, but they are, because deciding to look feminine is a feminine choice, right? And again, this does say something about you. So listen to me. I'm the kind of guy who does not have these strange thoughts of, oh, I was born in the wrong body or this or that. Like, this was never even an occurrence to me. This is never a thought growing up. And I think this is the same for countless others. I mean, obviously, if that wasn't the case, then why wouldn't the trans population be way higher? But the truth is, it's not. And for aside from the last couple years, it practically hardly even existed. Most of us didn't even hear about it. It wasn't even a thing. And these days, it seems to just be an online-only kind of deal. Like, you could go outside, you'll never really see them. Like, I've never seen a single one in real life. Not one. Not a single one. Anyway, I just want to, again, I just want to reiterate, there's always an excuse they're going to make, but just remember, it is just that. It is just an excuse. It is meaningless. They are simply coping with their femininity. I'm calling out all these VTubers. I'm calling out all these YouTubers. Boneless and Sid. Like, you could hear Sid here. Hold on. Like, you could hear Sid talk. I mean, come on. Hold on. Look at this.
You'll come to
their lack of any friends. And I think that's a good thing. But did you know that some people also use VR as a way to have relationships? It's true. A lot of people who
listen to the way he speaks. Like, I guarantee I could probably pull up his channel or his social media, and I could probably find proof that he's gay or trans. I could promise you. I mean, don't get me wrong. The video is called, like, why is VRChat turn you gay or trans? So I could safely assume that he is one of those things. But if he's not, just look at him. Listen to how he talks, how his mannerisms are. Like, he's obviously LGBT. It's so obvious. He's a stereotype, just like the rest of them. Now, he's obviously a little more feminine than these other people. Like Boneless, he could sit there and pretend all he wants, but he's still pretty feminine. He obviously has some kind of gender dysphoria to some extent. And if you guys have an issue with that, well, get over it. I'm just here to preach you the truth. Don't be mad at me. This is simply what logic dictates. If you have an issue with that, then I have a message for you, gentlemen. How about this? How about this? How about you become a real man? How's that sound? If you need help with that kind of thing, I can help you. Join the Discord. Stop it, stupid. And anyway, join the Discord. Message me. I can help you with this kind of thing. It's very simple. Step 1, stop using the female avatars. Unfavorite every single one. Delete all your uploads. Trust me, it will be a benefit to you. And if you think about it, like, you have to ask yourself, like, what would it really change? Like, if these dudes who use the female avatars, if they change and only use male, like, are they going to have a problem with that? Is that going to cause them to be uncomfortable? If that's true, and I think it is, then they're obviously a little bit afraid of masculinity. They're obviously a little uncomfortable with their own gender, which is the literal definition of gender dysphoria. So you can't tell me that these guys don't have a little bit of gender dysphoria. It's true. And welcome to VRChat, which is essentially gender dysphoria simulator. Actually, I think I could probably pull up something about that real quick. Hold on. Here, look at this one I found. This is, I guess there's like a thread about it on Reddit. But look at one of the comments, yeah? It says, the first gender euphoria I ever got was in front of a mirror in this game. Full body is very tempting. It says, not gonna lie, it's pretty great, but the rebound dysphoria when you take off the headset, blah, blah, blah. Dude, so he's essentially implying that when he got in, like, a female avatar and sat in front of the mirror, he says euphoria, but sure, his euphoria increased, but his gender dysphoria certainly did as well. I don't even know if what he's saying is accurate. Gender euphoria. But the mirror is like a tool to just kind of further that process. It's like a catalyst, if you will. Let me go find the other one real quick. Here, look at this one. Look at this one. This guy practically admits it. So I guess this is another Reddit post. Look, I discovered I'm trans from playing VRChat with a feminine avatar. And then he talks about Publix. But I think I said this in the why you use your VRChat avatar video. This VRChat is it's like a gender dysphoria simulator, and it's almost as if it were designed to pervert its player base. I don't know if that's exactly true, but to this extent, I mean, look at this. It kind of feels like that. I'm not saying this is some kind of crazy, malicious scheme that some guy plotted, but I just feel like it is quite the catalyst to this. I mean, look at all these people who have admitted it. I mean, I even talk to furries and say they admit they'd rather be a furry IRL, right? And they'd rather look like this animal kind of thing instead of just a normal human being. Let me go see if I have one more real quick. Okay, I couldn't find any more relevant snips, but I think I've made the point very clear. If you're a man and you have the decision to look like a woman, well, the rule is you essentially either want to bang it or you want to be it, and this is obviously in reference to the avatar character you're picking. If there's a choice of gender and it's purely cosmetic, you're guilty. You're caught red-handed. Again, the Lara Croft Tomb Raider thing has nothing to do with this. Here's one thing you can say about those kinds of games. If you're a guy and you avoid a game like that completely just because there's like a female protag, then sure, you people can use the argument against him that he might be a little insecure. And I think that's totally valid. Like, if you have a guy and he's so uncomfortable with looking like this female, then he might be a little insecure, sure. However, you have people like me who use female characters all the time. Like, I don't have a choice, and I'm totally fine with it. It doesn't bother me. Like, sure, I'd rather have a male character, but, like, in Super Smash Bros., for example, like, there's only one Sheik. There's only one Samus, right? Like, you have to be a female, or else you can't have their moveset. So it would be incredibly insecure and just awkward to avoid that character entirely, even though it's like a great character and you want to play at it, or play as it, just because it's female. See, I'm not like that, so you can't call people like me insecure. And this is responding to what that Sid guy said earlier about how we as men are insecure because we don't want to sit in front of a mirror with our little succubus skirts on and compare with our friends. No, that's a little too much. Like, that's purely cosmetic, and let's just face it, that's just super girly. That's what women do, not men. I mean, if men want to sit in front of a mirror and compare their sick Chad avatars or something like that, cool, a little different. You know, I always use this example, right? I always make this comparison where it's like you have the guys and the girl avatars. They're essentially playing with, like, Barbie dolls instead of the guys who are, like, in the male avatars and, like, military gear and stuff like that. They're playing at, like, G.I. Joes and stuff like that. So think about this. If you go to, like, your families one day for, like, this upcoming Christmas or whatever, and you see one of your nephews playing with Barbie dolls, I think you would probably have an issue with that. I think someone would say something about it. I think that would make you a little confused and a little uncomfortable. I know it would for me. I'd be like, whoa, what's happening to this freaking kid? You know, what's wrong with them? Yeah, there's definitely something. Like, I absolutely assure you that kid is going to end up messed up in the head. He's probably going to turn, like, unless he's some kind of, like, rapist, he's going to probably turn to be, like, trans or something like that. Like, there's obviously something wrong with the kid. So keep that in mind. You know, anytime you come here and you're in these games or in VRChat and you use a girl avatar, you're playing with Barbies. The rest of us men are playing with G.I. Joes, or you could at least be a Ken doll. Like I said earlier, it's okay to be a little feminine as a guy. No one is asking you to be some mega Chad. You could be a perfectly balanced dude. And unlike what that guy said earlier about there's only, like, boneless VR, there's only muscle Chad avatars, that's not true. There's plenty of just regular guy avatars that aren't built and bulky. There's plenty of them. You could pick a booth male avatar or a game character, like he said, or anything like that. But you have options. The truth is, you're saying this excuse because you'd rather look like a woman for reasons you will not admit or you do not understand. And this is why we call it a mental illness, because if you were that clearly unaware of what is going on, you are truly just ignorant. You do not have the knowledge of this situation. You cannot comprehend what's actually going on here. So at that point, there's something wrong with you. Not us. Something wrong with you. Anyway, please keep that in mind. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, join the Discord and feel free to talk to me. You could send me a message or send me a friend request, and then I'll get back to you when I can. But I absolutely assure you there's no good reason for you men to keep looking like women. There's no good reason. Just don't do it. You know deep down what you're doing is wrong. It's weird. Okay? And if you keep doing it, you're going to end up like the people at the Great Pug, where there's just freaking cuddle puddles of men, grown men in their full body, cuddling and caressing other men and female avies just like them. If you want to avoid that kind of future, then it's time to man up. Put your foot down today and say, no, I don't want to be a soy boy anymore. I don't want to be a little... Sorry about that. Had to cut out that last part real quick. Said some things I can't say on the YouTubes. Anyway, this whole thing, why males play as female characters or avatars in VRChat or any game, really separates the men from the boys. If you want to grow a pair, get a spine, don't look like a woman anymore. Be a real man. Quit embarrassing your parents. Quit being a disappointment. Grow up. Be a man.